Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this episode. Sorry, this first topic episode
of the
of
week from episode 385 of 10 o'clock. We're going to be discussing about a enemy survey that was done on Reddit.
Indeed, Loz has completely stolen my thunder, and too rightly so, because I was fumbling around. Good job, Loz.
Sound like you're having a drink, but oh well.
I wasn't. I was. Do you ever get that thing where you're trying to breathe properly, and then your passageway gets blocked, and like, yeah,
That's called dying.
Yeah, I was dying. Right. Okay. So this topic, Warframe enemy survey. Almost half of the votes wanted to see open world enemies in other missions. Grenier needed more diversity than most. The most disliked enemy is, no surprise here, nullifiers at 21.5% of the votes. It's important to have enemies with priorities that aren't all the same. People generally want improved pathing, conditioning, and self-preservation from enemies.
Coordination.
What did I say?
Conditioning.
I meant coordination, like Loz said. Coordination.
That's what I'm here for.
Players correct my mistakes and take me out of dyingness. Right? Most players would like destructible armor on Elite Grenier, but only some would like overshield generators on Elite Corpus. So these are the clip notes that Tobiah lovingly got us. The original topic, that breaks into a big survey. You know what? We didn't actually look at the questions, and there's one question
I don't think we could. Well, we couldn't actually see the actual questions. The polls closed. We can only see like the infographic. Oh, wait, I can put the infographic up.
Yeah, put the infographic up.
Is it on?
So the problem I have with this is that.
Well, I'll start. Hang on. So first of all, just so everyone is on the same page while we're talking about this, what this is some very nice person on Reddit, actually. So we never really appreciated this before in the last recording of it. That it was a person on Reddit sat down and made, I assume, some sort of giant survey of a load of questions specifically relating to how enemies react and what people want to see in the enemies of Warframe. I kind of agree with them because it's one of my big bugbears that the enemies in Warframe are very similar, very static. The Grenier Lancer pretty much shows you, it's the perfect example. It's a mob, it just has a gun and it shoots you. Too many mobs in Warframe are like that. There's not enough variation in the style of enemy. So it's really cool to see the community producing this kind of questionnaire survey results there and handed it out to the Reddit community. Good job, people. And then they took all that information and they compiled it all into a cool infographic, which you'll see on the screen, but there will be a link in the description below. Yep, for that infographic and the topic if you want to look at it yourself. So we've just gone through the summaries of it. And now Xeno's going to give his view of some of the questions given. Go. There we go.
The problem I have with these questions is they're very positive loaded. Right? They drive the direction of
the answerer of the question.
Yeah, the answer. So like this is something that if you've gone into academia, if you've gone into university, you will know that it's really important not to
lead with your question.
Exactly. So would you like to see open world enemies in other missions as well? You know,
who's going to say no to that? It's like,
yeah,
it's priming people to right away answer. Well, of course, that's a good thing, isn't it? The question's almost asking, do you want to see this? Is good thing good? Yes, good thing is good. Let's have good thing. Yes. Yeah. It's people are predisposed to answer that way.
Yeah. Whereas with which faction could do with more diversity, that is very
balanced.
Down to opinion. Yes, exactly.
Between it's not favoring one option. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Now, there's another problem with that, which is down to interpretation. Diversity. Well, the internet right now, if you've never heard of Twitter, is very suffering of like woke culture and things like this. I would genuinely understand this to mean like ethnically, racially.
Yeah, but that's your own bias on
Yeah,
the question, but yeah.
but no, that's the whole point.
Oh, I
It's
see what you
down to
mean. Right.
interpretation, right?
Yes.
Whereas this could quite easily mean, and I think this is what they mean, would you like to see more variations on the enemies?
Yes, variation would have been a more
Yeah,
balanced and non-charged word to use, is what you mean. I see what you
exactly.
mean, right? Yeah.
You know, so it's really important that when
You
asking
design,
these
yeah.
questions, yeah, when you're designing these questions,
Mm.
there's no room for misunderstanding, misinterpretation, which is a
Mm.
lot of the problem that we see with some of the feedback we get with anything, right?
Mm.
You and I have been on the public test cluster, and we've seen some of the feedback given by people, and it's
Oh,
like,
yeah, I remember that from a
you
while
know,
back, yeah.
I can't actually remember any example right now, but the whole
Oh,
point
it's been a
is,
while.
I remember seeing some of them going like, "What the hell are you banging on about? You're supposed to be testing X. Why are you talking about something completely unrelated?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
So,
that's related to the agenda and bias of the person when they were going into it being different, which can happen, yeah. So you've got to be careful your question that you don't allow people to slip these things in, yeah. If you're looking for that, and then they go over there, yeah.
I've just noticed now that the person that actually put this thing together is European.
What's wrong with that?
No. Do you know how I can tell?
How?
They use commas instead of decimals.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What you call it, coding does not work with commas at all.
Ah.
And the number of times people create floating point numbers with commas instead, and sorry, random programming point. The one thing I'd love to have seen this questionnaire as it was live, because
Yeah.
I want to know. So one of the questions is most disliked enemy, which will be the core focus on the replies for this. Most disliked enemy, right? So is that the best worst enemy, or the enemy that you want to see removed from the game effectively?
Yes, disliked is again a very odd word to use. It's like as you say, do you just dislike to fight it, but you think it's important in the enemy lineup? Do you feel it's disliked to the point that you wish it was removed from the game because it causes problems and issues with your play? It's a very hard to describe what is the question asking, yeah.
Right.
But nullifiers though. Nullifiers are so good. They're like the best mob in the game. I'm sorry. I know people hate fighting them, but they are so important in adding so much variety in different ways to play. It's oh.
Do you want to hold off until the replies?
No, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm just
cool.
going on the percentage.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to explode like last time. So again,
well,
and here,
so
let's go to the other point. So Grenier need more diversity than most. We went through it, and like
they don't.
What they need is better mob player interactions and better mob interactions is what we came up with yesterday. Like the Corpus, for instance, you've got a Corpus shield drone which will put shields on multiple mobs. One of those mobs could be a Corpus sniper, which will put down a little square bracket on the floor, which spawns roly boys. I can't remember the names of them. At the same time, you could have a Scrambus linking to the player, knocking out one of their abilities, and then I can't remember what else I said yesterday. There was one more thing I could be brought in. Now I've forgotten it. Oh yeah, all of those mobs guarded by a nullifier bubble. So that's the mobs helping the mobs affecting you, and the mobs spawning more mobs. It's all these things. It was with Grenier, you're like, okay, I've got a Lancer, a Seeker, a Heavy Gunner, and a Bombard, and a guy with a shield. The Seeker will throw out drones and do its own thing. The Bombard, the Heavy Gunner, they'll just shoot you. The Lance will shoot you, and the guy in the shield will get shot because punch through just ruins his shield. That's it. There's nothing to it. It's more variation is what's missing there. What else did they say?
I will say, right. I put my money where my mouth is. I'm looking at the wiki. I don't know if you want to take that infographic off because no one can read the thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, just showing
there's
us
a link
there.
to it in the description. Yeah, there's a link. Right. So from a glance, there are more Corpus enemies than there are Grenier or infested. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to tell. Yeah, it's really, really hard to tell because to me personally, I don't feel that there's a lot of variation in the corpus enemies. I think it's because, oh, they're shooting something at me, I shoot them, they're dead. You're right there.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about it, and I think that there actually is a lot more in the corpus, because if you just think the base, like, corpus crewman, it changes what he's equipped with, and even the helmet, the style, the visual of the mob. If it's a regular corpus ship, or the new updated corpus ship, if they're on Venus, then it's a different one. If it's on Jupiter, then it's a different one. And if it's on, I forgot one more. There was one more I was thinking. That it'll be a different unit again. Whereas the Grineer Lancer, I think, is in every form of the game, and just gets a different spray of paint. And if he gets a different gun, it still just shoots bullets. It doesn't do anything different.
So I want to check with you to see if there's something you know about the Grineer, sorry, the corpus, right? So with the infested, there are different types of infested. You got your walkers, you got your crawlers, you got your mutalists, ancients, blah 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 blah, right?
Yep.
With your, could you name me, right?
Yep.
The baseline for the Grineer. Yeah, like the classifications.
Humanoid?
No. It's so you got light, medium, heavy,
yeah,
and Kuva.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Sorry, right. Corpus. Corpus to go.
Crewman, proxies, and heavy proxies.
Heavy proxies? What would it be in the heavy proxies?
The arachnoids, hyenas, and that's about it.
Right. Okay. So I'm also going to give like ospreys, right? I assume you put ospreys in with the proxies.
Yeah, I would put them in proxies.
Right. And there's also amalgams.
Oh, right? Yes, yep.
Yep, fair enough. But there's one that you missed.
Okay.
The Rangers.
They have jetpacks.
Do they?
I think they have jetpacks.
What the hell are the Rangers?
The Rangers.
Yep, you're right. They're the jetpack ones.
Alpha, I need Rangers. The fight.
Oh my god.
Summon me teenagers with attitude.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all the jetpack ones. Right? So you have the Vapos Detron Ranger, the Vapos Elite Ranger, the Vapos Nullifier Ranger, the Vapos Sniper Ranger, the Vapos Tech Ranger.
Also known as the red, blue, yellow, black, pink, and maybe a green ranger.
But it just feels like there's only 5 there.
So you think
feels like
secret one.
It just feels like this entire, hold on, you got 3 words for their name and you just change the middle word each time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could lose one of the other words.
The red Power Ranger, the yellow Power Ranger, the blue Power Ranger. I didn't change the one word. All different.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you know.
You wait till the Corpus Megazord comes out, then you're ruined.
You don't say the blue Power Ranger, you say Blue Ranger.
You could say blue Power Ranger.
Loz, we both know someone that is very, very much into this. we know the terminology.
I think they would agree with me, but they are shortened for just saving time. But that's why it's perfectly fine to say the yellow Power Ranger.
I would just go with Vapos Detron.
Because I think actually I am right, because you could get Turbo Rangers and then probably many other words to replace power that I don't know about. Yes, Ninja Rangers. Yeah, see, I'm pretty sure I'd be right.
Sure. Yeah, but they don't mix. Well, they very rarely mix.
They do rarely mix, but they still mix in crossovers, and thus I'm win again. So yeah, you wait till the Corpus crossover with the Corpus Megazords, then we're ruined. The Arachnoid Megazord is coming. Well, they all combine.
Very, very, very clearly, the infested have the least diversity.
Yeah, that's fine. But then I always feel them. They are a faction, but they have never really been given, because they're not given. They're never really fleshed out. They're never really given a overarching characters or force or like overminds or whatever to give them depth. They're just the infested. So they're in some ways supposed to be less diverse because of that. Or less variation in mobs. But anyway, let's go back to the topic at hand, because there were some things we didn't pull up yet. Instead, we just rumbling on about this. But there was some interesting things to do with the amount of mobs in play that people said. That they wanted to see more enemies, and most people said they wouldn't mind. And this is, I feel, is a very PC biased question, thinking about it. They wouldn't mind if they had to take a graphical hit on settings if it could accommodate more enemies in play. Consoles don't have a choice in this, to my knowledge. You can't be like, oh, I'll just turn down. Yeah, exactly. I'll turn down my graphics on my Switch to get more enemies. No, I don't think that's how it works. Which is really PC focused. And then the other thing was the very baiting question on, which if you look on the infographic, it's got it as like multiple topics, multiple settings, that it then reroutes into what combines a few of them. And I think like self-preservation and things has several of them. This weird thing about AI, which is a cold can of worms, because I think we both agreed last time. Personally, we hate when people, we have in the past as well, we hate when people say, oh, improve the AI, because they don't actually, that's not what you actually want. You think that's what the way you think to describe your problem, but it's really not. Because they say, oh, I want to see better pathing for the mobs. What? Do you see the mobs clipping on things more? Does increasing pathing mean a Grineer Lancer is going to be any more of a challenge? No, it does. It's a terrible thing to say pathing. And then it's like self-preservation. Again, it has to apply to the smallest enemy. So the Grineer, you're in a room fighting 6 Grineer Lancers, and a door opens and 10 more come in, right? How does improved self-preservation improve that gameplay at all? Oh, they take cover more and shoot you from cover. Yes, but you're ping-pong, bouncing around the room like a electron in a magnetic field or something, stuck between magnetic fields.
Large Hadron Collider.
Exactly, going all over the shop. Oh, it's in cover, so it shoots you from cover. It won't change the gameplay. It won't change the time to kill of that mob. You can't. I mean, maybe with mob-to-mob interactions, let's say where the ones with shields, if they remove the punch through, and so Lancers could hide behind them, and thus then they always face you and rotate towards you, and you can't just punch through them in 2 seconds without paying attention. Or maybe they can block Warframe powers if they're face onto you. That way they can protect each other and then shoot from behind. There you go. That's what the sort of thing you want to see if you want to see self-preservation. But just like, the mob will, Grineer Lancers run into them, they go, quick, I better prioritize my self-preservation. And so they hide behind boxes and things. So the game becomes, where are all the Grineer Lancers? Oh, they're hiding behind boxes now, trying to self-preserve.
I want to segue. Do you remember was it Return of the King?
Return of the King.
So Weta, the 3D animating company,
yes,
they use
Massive.
They use
Massive. It's called Massive.
Massive?
Yeah, the software to organize loads of people.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's called Massive.
I thought it was Maya.
No. They had. Oh, you mean if you mean the AI to control all the people in their war cinematics? No, it had a name. I think it was called Massive.
Right, okay, fine. The whole point was that they had this AI that was used to dictate how the fighting happened in the CG. So, it would render out, and it was all procedurally generated, right, through an AI, right? But in their early attempts, they found that when the army encountered, what was the war elephants called? Whatever, the war elephants in... Huh?
What? Mumakil, I think.
Is that their name?
I think that's their name. Well, you got Samwise Gamgee going. They're called Orifants.
Yes.
But I think they're called Murmakil. Murmakil?
Right.
Murmakils,
regardless, giant war elephant thing that's like, 5 times the size of our elephant turns up.
Yeah.
And they found that half the army AI ran away and the other half ran straight to it. Right? There's a giant divide in the actual. And like, what the hell? So doing AI is like, so what? You want the enemy to run away from you? No, you want to kill them. right?
Yeah. So they probably programmed it saying that each horseman fighting a giant elephant would have a fear check so that you'll see some of them running away. But what happened is, as soon as they became in range, half of them failed their fear check and just ran away, and then the other half just progressed into fighting. It's like, it's not quite what they wanted. They probably wanted to see them clash, and then a few of them at a time bank away.
I think it was a case of they had to change it so they either couldn't be feared, right? Or is it whether or not the AI would engage the Olifant or stick with the enemy that they were fighting right then and there?
I don't think they had much else to fight when those turned up.
No, because it was the two armies, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, the Orc army flees, and then because the riders of Rohan come in, and they look like they succeeded, and then they go to crush the army, and then I think Murmakill. I think it's Murmakill. I'm gonna look this up.
Anyway, the whole point is, like, you know, what would you want to see in Warframe? Like, so when we were talking about this yesterday, we were talking about it's all about the interaction. It really is all about the interaction. You came up with the brilliant Destiny 2 reference, which you're going to make again now.
Oh, sure. So the example, it's not the best example. I'm not saying I want this in Warframe, but it gives you a perfect example of how a one mob in Destiny 2, which we do say there's got some plus points, but we're not the biggest fans of, that I can take and show you how it gives much more interaction than most mobs in Warframe. So there's I can't remember what they're called now, actually. What is that group of enemies?
The Cabal?
Cabal?
It is the Cabal.
Is it the Cabal? The Cabal. So the Cabals have dudes with shields and pistols. And one thing the guy with the shield and pistol can do is he can deploy his shield. So he plonks down his shield, and then it opens to the left and the right. Now, there's a big target in the middle, but then it gives the player a choice. How can the player deal with the mob? Either they could run around the shield or ignore the mob for now, go deal with something else, or they can shoot the shield in the middle, which will close up the shield and have to fight the mob, or they could try and jump over it, or maybe use a power or use a grenade. But there's different ways, but they've removed your ability to just shoot in that direction because the shield's in the way, unless you shoot the middle, which breaks the shield, and you have to waste time closing up that shield. So that as soon as that guy deploys a shield, I'm not saying it's the best example, but it's a very simple example which shows how it changes as soon as that shield is deployed, what the player is going to do next. Most mobs in Warframe, and I think the best example of this, I felt it the most, is when the amalgams came out, because I feel that the art team and the animation team did an amazing job making the amalgams do all these amazing things. Like, you got the two where it's two mowers stuck up together and it runs around, and I mean, you can literally shoot through the mob because it's a big oval shape and things like that, and they have all these different things. But what do they actually do in gameplay that makes you feel different? Do any of them make you go, oh, okay, that amalgam's here now and it's doing this, I better change the way I play? No, none of them do. They just appear, you shoot them, they die. You appear, shoot, die. Oh, such a disappointment. There's just nothing to them. I never go, oh, it's that amalgam. Right, it's in that corridor. Do I deal with that now? Or do I have to do this? Or do I change? Or if that activates its whatever ability, am I going to do that next? No, you're just like, oh, there's a thing, I'll shoot it. Oh, there's a thing, I'll shoot it. Oh, there's a thing, I'll shoot it. Oh, they're all dead. Like, some of them are crazy. I remember seeing them thinking like, wow, look how original that mob design is. And it's like, right, what does it do in game? No, it doesn't do anything physically different than if it was just a Grineer Lancer, which would appear, shoot at you, and die. That's it. Very sad. Very sad.
No, I agree with you. I think it's all about the interactions. I don't know what a large part of the problem is. We have insane mobility.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And if they put up these gigantic shields, we just jump over them.
Yeah, that's why
it's actually a common tactic for ramparts. Just jump over it.
Yeah. I mean, there have been times when they have tried it. Like, one of the bursars or riot mowers used to put down like an electrical grid that would shut down a whole corridor. And it would be in front of it, and in theory, if any mob came up behind it, you could not reach that mob to fight it, and it could shoot through at you.
Oh, you're talking about one. You're talking about the one that eventually made its way into the index.
Is it in the index? Right, which is stupid, because it was actually an interesting mob and actually could cause things, because it would be, right, I'm going to protect all these mobs down a corridor, you have to fight me, and you're vulnerable to all these mobs shooting down the corridor, and you can't get down there because it's just a wall until you deal with me. Instead, oh, we'll just put that in the index. Right.
No, I think they took it out because people were complaining about it too much.
Yeah, but that's what everyone always does. That's like, I'm surprised Nullify still exists in the game. As soon as there is any complexity or depth, or it steps away for even 1 second from you shoot the balloon and it pops, people just go lose their minds. And that's why we can never have nice things in Warframe. Yeah.
I mean, it's, to be honest, it just reminds me of the throwball meme, you know. And throwball is give challenge, right? And the no take is no hard enemies, right?
No complexity.
Yeah, no complexity. Yeah. So it's like
give challenge, no complexity, only challenge.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, that doesn't work.
Yep.
I think, and talking about, so one thing I didn't think about, so one of the points that they highlighted was the pathing.
Yes, yeah.
One thing they could do is improve the pathing to include vertical terrain. So enemies could latch on to vertical locations and things. This would be really hard to do, and it would massively tax the pathing AI. So I don't know if I'll try really simplistically to explain how pathing AI works with just a chessboard, right?
Yeah.
So a chessboard, a piece can only go in specific ways,
directions,
right? You know, so exactly, directions, distances, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
But the important thing is, to save your machine from killing itself, you don't work out every possibility. Yeah. You work out each step and go, right, what is proving to be the most profitable? And then from there, you keep on going on the profitable ones and you ditch the non-profitable ones, right?
Yep.
So, for example, I've put a pawn in a position that it can be taken by another pawn. That's not profitable. Just ditch that whole chain of thought. I've moved my queen in a position where it can be taken. Ditch that whole chain of thought. Because you're not thinking just one step ahead. You're thinking many, many steps ahead.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're trying to get from one side of the board to the other side of the board, you're not going to want to go around the outside of the board. You're going to want to go in a straight line. So as you're working out the different paths from point A to point B, you want to just cut off the branches of the calculation tree that aren't going to yield the best results. Yeah. So if there are more locations on the board to work out, it will stress out the pathing AI a bit more.
Yeah. Now, to bring that back down to the game, as I like to do my example of the Grinnell answer, what's the AI of the Grinnell answer probably telling it to do? And it's probably actually telling it to move towards the Warframe and a player Warframe and attempt to shoot it, which it will just do, and then basically be viewable to be shot at. That's probably actually what it's telling it to do. Now, if they change that to make it go hide away from player, so the Grineer will run into the room, then go, quick, hide behind every box, and then as soon as you try and move towards them, they just run around boxes, and their goal is to not be seen by you. That's what people seem to want, because that's what it would be. And so instead, because the game is actually probably designed to just put them up like a shooting gallery in front of you, like make them run into your field of view, make them run towards you, so that you can kill them. That's all it's designed to do. Now, if you make them go hide behind boxes, it becomes a game where you have to use your magical maneuverability to try and get around every box, every wall, every corner to try and shoot them. What people I think people want them to do is they want them to, like, form up in corridors. They form, like, firing blocks and things. But the problem is, as you were saying, that it's about processing power for each option. But your example of the chessboard is where the thing's trying to get across the chessboard is the goal, and that improves, right?
Yeah.
But in Warframe, if you try and get them to form up in an area so they work together to shoot at an enemy, that enemy is ping-ponging around the map again. So it's as if I'm trying to move a mob across the chessboard while at the same time you're holding the chessboard and slowly moving it around and jiggling it every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's impossible to make them, oh yes, they'll form up and form beachheads and things. Like, no, you're going ping, 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 ping. Two mobs get in position and you're 2 rooms ahead of them now.
The problem is, it's just that the player is too fast to make the AI have the opportunity to do complicated things.
Yeah.
All right. Should we move on to the replies?
Yes, right. So, this is where I explode with rage from people using the wrong words. So, breathe in and out. And out. Unmodded Grakata pops Nullifier Shield in 2 seconds with bullets that do 10 damage. 5 former Stahata with Riven tickles Nullifier Shield with a projectile that deals tens of thousands of damage, redirecting an explosion that would one-shot steel path enemies. I can't actually remember what I'm going to look. What is a Stahata again? I should remember that.
I'll look it up now.
Yeah. A sniper? I can't remember. So many words, so many names. But my key point here is, first of all, oh, sorry, I haven't finished. Sorry. Yep. Gets worse. Other heavy damage weapons aren't as lucky to have a fast firing mode. Opticores, Brahma, Lens, normal bows, any sniper suffer because the only thing these bubbles care about is fire rate. There has to be a damage cap to their absorption too. So, first of all, they seem to have...
hold on. The Stahata, or Stahalta, or whatever the fuck it's called, is the Corpus radiation gun from... or Valis. It's the one that fires the rods of radiation. Remember?
That's not... That was in Thingy Protocol, isn't it? Deadlock.
No, I don't think it... What was it?
I think that's Deadlock.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was Deadlock.
Maybe you're right, actually. It's off the Jackal.
Yeah, that'll be Deadlock.
Grant and Void, yep. Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, I remember that gun. It's a cool gun. Still.
Yep.
Right. This person doesn't seem to know how nullifiers work. There is a little satellite at the top that flies up, and it's at the top of the bubble. If you shoot that with your high damage weapon, which does 1 billion damage in one shot, the bubble pops. They added this so that people with snipers, people with low fire rate weapons would have an option, skill-based of course, to hit that and pop the bubble in one go. The bubble itself is designed to absorb high damage, and so little pecks, like little Gratas unmodded, are meant to deal with it. Now, I think you're going to point out how, just to say, we can now bring, obviously, a primary, a secondary, a melee weapon, let alone that, you have a arc weapon, a arc wing weapon, you have your necromech, and you have your operator who can have a rapid firing amp, all of these things, and you can melee the shield. There are multiple ways to deal with shields without just even attacking the satellite at the top, but they even gave you the satellite at the top, so you don't even have to change weapon. Just annoys me so much how people don't appreciate nullifiers. They are the best thing in the game.
Actually, my point was... Sorry, can you pause it 2 seconds? Yeah, the point I actually had was you could just jump into the...
Yes, I keep removing it. I'll give this example because most people hate it because it removes all of your buffs. But you're right, you can just step into the bubble and shoot them with any weapon.
Sun still blinding me. Right, okay. Yeah, you could just jump in and just job done. The other side of this is I don't know about you, but I typically have counterbalance to my equipment.
Yeah.
So I take the Tonkor and I will take a pistol that will fire quite quickly. Like the Nucor, right? The Nucor will, the Cuba Nucor will deal with the nullifier bubble quite quickly. The axe stilettos, right? In a rapid fire thing. I would rarely ever take another slow firing pistol just to maximize DPS.
My default loadout is an Opticore with axe stiletto primes.
Right. And I'm wondering, and this will be one of the questions, like how many people actually have this counterbalance?
I think we asked a similar question years ago, and most people were like, "No."
I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I think the example you gave last time we recorded this was, if you had a grenade launcher, can you have a secondary grenade launcher? It's like, yeah, you can take the Angstrom, can't you? as an example, and it's like, I want more explosions and my explosions. It's like, okay, but that's not going to help you deal with bubbles now, is it?
Yeah, I take the Tigress and the Brack.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So, like, you know, people are asking, like, if people are, I mean, this actually just goes back to the ball meme, doesn't it? It's like, want challenge, no difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
no, it was want challenge, no complexity.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to choose a variation in your build, your loadout, so that you've got. And the thing is, you don't even have to make it your primary or secondary anymore. You literally could just take the Imperator for your Arcwing weapon and just have a rapid firing gun in that. And just swap to that.
Again, this is why we wanted a ditch Sword Alone, because with
well, basing the game around the concept of Sword Alone, like that it's that everything should be viable with just a sword. I mean, I wouldn't mind too much if you did remove Sword Alone, because you can just make it visually so that you just have your melee weapon now, and you could just play with just a melee weapon. But the concept of making the game work with just a sword for everything, no, it's hindrance.
I really want an enemy that is Ninja from the first Metal Gear Solid.
Ninja.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember Ninja. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't played it, like, simple enemy, you can't shoot him. He blocks all the attacks with his sword. You're going to demonstrate
hand to hand. It is the basis of all combat.
There was actually an alternative. Do you know what the other way of actually killing him was?
C4?
No, it was the Nikita rocket launcher.
Oh.
So at least that's what I believe it was. But yeah. So, but I always had the hand, because I didn't find out about the rocket launcher until much, much later. I was like,
right.
But the thing is, it was so difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway,
so moving on from nullifiers. On the next reply.
Oh no! One thing I did want to point out though is the satellite could do with some TLC.
Yes. So you were pointing out how it kind of leans. It's always directly above the corpus unit. So if the corpus unit leans forward when walking forwards, it presents the satellite. Forward. But if they're running away and they lean forward, if you're behind them,
you can't hit
it because it's protected by the back of the shield bubble. So there's a little bit in that, but overall, that's a minor thing, really.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would still just have it like, just have the satellite permanently at the top, right? There you go. That instantly eliminates.
It's tricky because I think the way it works is obviously it comes out from the backpack, and I think it's just on a stick basically. So it's just going up from down from the backpack.
Yeah.
So if it would then have to come out from the backpack, but then coordinate to the ground and then go up and down from that, which I think would be a bit meh. So that's a niggling thing that I think people can just live with.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even like that satellite as it is, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think the problem is with the types of enemies or how they impact you. I just want their pathing and usefulness to be increased. When I play Disruption, I can take care of the demo units very easily, but when it comes to getting the key carriers seem non-existent for me and have to kill every enemy on the map to get a single key carrier spawn. Same reason with life support drops from enemies. Unless you go high range nuking frame or loot frame, you will constantly lose life support. Oh god, now this was the perfect example of somebody using words which aren't useful to explain your situation. Saying that they want to increase the pathing and usefulness of mobs doesn't make sense. They already showed how the pathing of the mobs is fine because the demo unit knows how to path towards the objective and get it explode, but the key carriers have nothing to do with pathing. And I think you said about how if they did have bad pathing, how you would see that. Yeah,
so if you had bad pathing in a game like this, the enemies wouldn't move. They would just stand there like utter lemons because they can't fight. For example, bad pathing, perfect example in Warframe, you know, the on-screen map objectives, right? That move around with you. So as you get closer to the doorway, the objective moves to the next doorway, right? How often do you see it where the objective kind of does a 180 because it cannot find the path to the next doorway?
Yes, from
Yeah?
your current
Yeah?
location. Yeah.
That is bad pathing,
Yeah.
right? It cannot work where it's like work out where it should
Well,
be.
because it's trying to work out your location. It has to know where the objective is located, either in your tile or a different tile, and then it has to work out what is the doorway you require to reach the tile that, if you're not on it, that the objective is on. And so it has to path from you to the objective, and then does it go through doorways and then indicate those doorways to you. And sometimes it messes up completely because it goes like, this door, and you're like, what are you talking about? It's over there. It's like, this door. It's like, no game.
Yeah. And the problem for this is that there's probably a break in the way that the path is worked out. So like, oh, an enemy can't move through this tube, but a Warframe can, right? So that way it can't work it out, and it has to work it out when you get through the tube. Or worse still is, oh yeah, there's a maximum number of score, or that it has to get to the next point. And yeah, so the whole point is that it just gets, that is bad pathing. But there is no real bad pathing for the enemy AI in another instance of bad pathing. So do you know why they got the timer for the demo list to just run up and blow up the console?
Is that if it gets stuck?
That's if it gets stuck. That's bad pathing, right? But I haven't seen a demo list get stuck in a long ass time.
No, yeah. It's because otherwise the game mode would, if it did have a pathing problem, the game mode would continue forever until you either hunt down the mob, which might even be stuck in a wall. So it has a time in which it times out. But that's the thing. You don't often find, like, for instance, they said about the two examples they gave is amalgams dropping keys and life support drops. Now, life support drops, I think, can drop from any mob in a survival. I'm pretty sure. There's not an allocated mob, which is the life support mob. So that's nothing to do with pathing, for one. And then the other one, the
key bearers.
Now, the key thing here, because I remember we talked about this last time, is if you're playing in a team, it might not be pathing or usefulness. You might just be off on your own thing and killing corpus crewmen, trying to find an amalgam to spawn. But if the rest of your team are on the next tile over, and they're having problems killing, and they've got an amalgam or two there, you'll kill all the crewmen you want. You'll never see an amalgam spawn because they've already spawned and they're over there. So it's nothing to do with pathing. Unless this person's playing solo, in which case, fair enough. But unless they're playing solo and they find that the amalgams are stuck in a broom closet somewhere and they can't get out because that's where they spawned, that's bad pathing. More than likely, though, there's probably some other issue like, oh, I keep killing these crewmen and I can't find a key spawner. And then you just peek into the next tile over and there's three friends who are weaker, let's say, and couldn't kill the two amalgams. But this guy's like, but I can't find it. Must be bad pathing. They're not pathing to me. Yeah, you're not helping your friends. They're with your friends in the next tile over.
Okay, so let me just four conduits colored red, white, blue, and cyan then appear on the map, require keys to activate, which are dropped by special units. Amalgams and heavy, often Xmas units everywhere else. So basically, you just kill a heavy unit or an amalgam, and there's a chance to drop a key.
Yeah.
So there's no official key bearer.
No.
Right?
It's just a subset of the mobs that will spawn.
Yeah. And when I was talking about this, sorry, I was looking this up. I don't know if you've actually said this. The whole separation of the group thing.
Yep, that was the last thing I was talking about. You can be in one corner killing as many corpus crewmen as you want, look over the next tile and your three friends are a bit weaker, having problems killing two amalgams that spawned. Doesn't matter how many corpus crewmen you kill in this tile over here, it's because you haven't realised your friends have got the amalgams and that no more are going to spawn, because they've already spawned the amount that are to be played. They just haven't been killed because they're with your friends, but you're just solo heroing it the next tile over, killing billions of corpus crewmen. It won't make a difference. So it's not, and again, nothing to do with pathing or usefulness.
The biggest problem for, actually, I think I just realized why we don't have such complex enemy AI. I think it's the net code.
Could be.
But regardless of that, what was I going to say? No, not that. So the most commonplace instance of spotting this is with relic farming, relic cracking open things, where reactant is not spawning anywhere near you, and it's because the reactant is spawning next to the other players.
The other players, yeah.
And if you've decided, oh, I'm going to go do my own thing, then I mean that's on you.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. Maybe these people are playing solo, but I doubt it. I really doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played solo and I've had these issues.
No. Yeah.
Should we move on to the next reply?
Yep. Movement in Warframe is fun. A seemingly perfect aimed rope that will snipe you in midair and drag you along the floor like a crying child being dragged out of Toys R Us. Toys R Us, rest in peace. Isn't fun.
I don't know if Toys R Us is dead in the States.
I think it is. Pretty sure it is.
I still hold on. Toys R Us.
This is important. It needs to be answered right now.
Really? So ToysRUs.com still exists.
Yeah, I think they're just an online supplier.
There's a Toys R Us in Birmingham.
No way.
Oh wait, no, sorry, correct that. No, it's I put in Toys R Us and it's picked up like all the other different toy stores in Birmingham.
Yeah, because Google I think probably knows that it's like, oh, this person doesn't know Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore. Quick, tell them about toy shops.
Yeah. They might exist in other countries, but
no, I'm
anyway.
pretty sure they're dead. Star Wars killed them.
Star Wars?
Yeah, the last 3 films, the sequel trilogy, they overstocked on it, or they were forced to by Hasbro, I think, and they just couldn't shift it. It was junk. No one wants to buy it.
Wow.
There's videos of like back lots of Toys R Us, and it's just stacks and stacks of Star Wars toys. There's probably other things into it as well. Obviously, things like Amazon things, but you know, one of the last things was Star Wars. That there was there's whole videos of people like showing you how much Star Wars stuff just wasn't being sold.
Oh no, there were only 2 locations open in the United States until they closed down in 2021 due to the financial losses from COVID-19.
Yeah.
So it was only recently that the last 2 branches actually closed.
Yeah, but that's like there's one Blockbuster store still left, but I don't think Blockbuster still existing.
I do completely agree with you. But on January 20th, 2019, the company emerged from bankruptcy as True Kids. Wow, crazy. Anyway,
the more you know.
Yeah, but so
this person is complaining about the Scorpions and Ancients knocking you down. I think we said that you can mod for it, and there are a couple of options. We would like to see though maybe a mod that means you can't be sniped out of the air. So while you're in the air, you can't get knocked down. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
because I think we worked out that probably the only example we could think of was Trinity with Link Up. Because obviously Atlas can't get knocked down while he's on the ground, but that's about it. I think there are like knockdown resistant mods I think you could have to mod it up to 100%, I think. But just one mod that just meant maybe an Exodus mod that while in the air, you can't get sniped. Because I do admit, it isn't fun when you're in the middle of a bullet jump and you go...
I don't know if this person's ever experienced Draco, because Draco, there were a lot of Scorpions and you were just constantly pulled out of the air. It was so frustrating.
The other thing we suggested, as we've done in the past, is it would be nice to see them telegraph, especially the Scorpions, like with like a red laser beam for a second or two before they shoot the thing, so that you know to move out the way, or that you could block it with a melee weapon or something.
Well, I think the point is that these grappling hooks, like the grappling hooks aren't 100% guaranteed to hit you, because I've seen it where the grappling hooks are like flown by kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think what people don't realize is with the... Oh, I'm trying to remember how to... No, wait, is it... I think Grenier lead the shot. No, they don't, because they have hit scan weapons. Grineer shoot where you were, but the Corpus shoot where you're going to be. I think I can't remember. Anyway, I'm not gonna
labor
overthink
the
that.
issue.
Yeah. Regardless, yeah.
Last reply.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion, maybe. Nullifiers aren't even that bad. They are at least have visible counterplay. Energy Exami, on the other hand, have an invisible radius, and on higher levels leave you wondering where your energy suddenly went. Noxes are the best, though. Noxes are okay.
Yeah, well, you actually said that they were really good last time.
I didn't. I started out positively, and you went, "Oh, that means you're the best." I'm like, "No, I don't think they're the best. I think personally, nullifiers are the very best. If you want me to say something, but I think Noxes are okay. They're pretty good. I think they're pretty good.
I get where they're coming from with Noxes, but I do find that they're just too easy to kill when pop off your head.
Yeah, but at least it's something.
That's true.
At least it's something.
Yeah.
Right. So overall, though, I think it's a really interesting concept doing this Warframe enemy survey, but I think they haven't. Due to language issues and leading questions, they have not actually got to the crux of the issue of what needs to be added to Warframe and the enemies. And they're just still talking about like nebulous terms which mean nothing. The mobs have to have better pathing or better survivability. Like what? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean in actual gameplay?
Yeah, no, I concur with you on this one.
This is why the nullifier is so good, because what it does is it puts up an AoE bubble, which will affect, doesn't matter if you ping pong around directions, it's not omnidirectional. Any mob in it is protected. So it helps, it's doing things with other mobs. It knocks out one section completely of your things. Your Warframe powers can't touch it, right? So that's now out of play. So, one thing that does that is like, name something that makes your rifles out of play. I mean, maybe the mobs that take your weapons away, there's an example of it, but equivalent. But so the nullifier disables your Warframe powers, so they can't be in play unless you decide to pop the bubble in some way, or you can just take out the mob rather than take out the bubble. But you have to do it with a certain style of weapon in a certain way. Now, there are multiple options now. Rapid fire weapon, take down the bubble. Single shot, high damage weapon to take out the satellite. Then you take out the mob. Or then you use your Warframe powers. But you have to decide, make choices.
Here's a question for you. Is there a Warframe... Is there an enemy, right, that disables your weapons?
Yeah, the only one I can think of is the boomerang throwing Grineer at ladies.
That takes it away from you.
That drop it on the floor, yeah.
When was the last time they stole your weapon?
About a month ago, I think. Before my weapon got taken from me. But not enough. I mean, it's a good example. I mean, something that to say that, because that's what basically it's doing, is it's not, I mean, you could say, oh no, that's different, it's taking the weapon away from it. It's like, no, actually, what it's doing is just disabling your use of the weapon till you go to a predetermined spot and push a button. I mean, they could be on the tile, there's a anti-gun radiation field on a certain tile that gets activated by the mobs, and you have to go to a certain console on the tile to turn it off. It plays out exactly the same as the boomerang disarm, but it's thematically different.
Yeah, I like the idea of, like, why not have a... And what you do is you have the weapon out and you try to fire it and it just makes clicking sounds.
Yeah.
Like, as if the gun's unloaded. Right?
Oh, can I make... how about... You won't get a Doctor Who reference, will you?
I don't know, maybe.
Cord-line field expands the copper in the bullets, so the guns are ineffective.
Oh, is... shit. I want to say Skagara.
Are the iron? No. It is S. It is S.
It's the potato people.
It is the potato people. Sontaran.
What are they called? Sontaran. Yeah.
So they had, I think, a cord-line field. I think maybe it was Iron X. Yeah, no, it was iron, I think, because then they used copper bullets because copper wouldn't get excited by it. Yeah, so they used iron to expand the bullets in the guns, so the guns would just go and wouldn't shoot. There you go.
Hold on. Hold the fuck on.
Hold on. Oh. Holding on.
They try to use... I'm pretty sure copper bullets, the copper would shatter in the barrel.
You can make like I think, or maybe it says like copper alloy or something. It's something like that. We'll look it up later. It's science fiction, but at least they were trying. At least it was interesting.
Yeah, we expanded the iron, and
I think it was the iron.
Your gun's inflated.
Yeah, basically they just made the bullets expand by like a millimeter or two, which meant they wouldn't shoot. Wouldn't?
No, they wouldn't.
Wouldn't they explode in the gun? Wouldn't the bullet?
Actually, yeah, there would be blowback.
Yeah,
and
it just wouldn't. But the bullet, the cartridge would still explode. It just can't go out the barrel.
Yeah, what they're better off doing is actually decreasing the volume, because then the bullet and the casing isn't a perfect snug fit, and
yeah, and then the explosion will
does nothing.
Yeah, it will go out. It'll go poof. Be like, what? Because it'll have
and the gun will jam because there wouldn't be enough force to actually eject the cartridge.
Yes. Anyway, fun. But example, that would be kind of fun in Warframe if they did that kind of thing. But I also want to see rooms with like nullifier fields that deploy. I think that's a cool concept, you know. And it'd be like you can see the room, you can see there's bubbles, you can deal with it in your own way, you know. Anyway,
I mean, hell, if just to make it easy for DE, make them a portable unit, and then the enemy have set this up here, and you go in there and say, "Oh no, my gun don't work."
Yeah.
Anyway, right, are we done for this topic?
That topic is over.
Cool. Right. Well, thank you very much for listening to this topic episode of Warframe Enemy Survey from episode 385 of 10 o'clock. If you wish to listen to the full thing, you can find a link into the description below. And I think I actually do like end cards, that link to the actual thing. Please like, comment, subscribe. Loz reads everything. Don't you, Loz?
So yeah, do please comment on the main podcast or any of these episodes, because I read everything before a next recording. So I might not always reply, but I promise you it will have eyeballs on it.
Yep. And if you could do me a solid, please timestamp where you're replying to, because we talk a lot during these things. I can't remember everything we say. I mean, we finish recording and out our brain.
But if you are going to the main podcast from this episode, there are timestamps in the description, so you can skip this topic and go to exactly to the other information you want. Maybe the other topic, maybe the memes, maybe the community shoutouts. It's all there. Have a look. Oh well, let us move on. So bye for now.
Bye.